Now let's spend a little time and talk about the great and dreadful day of the Lord. This is Christ coming to the world years after he's come to the Jews. Isaiah 30:26. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as light as the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold. Where does the moon get its light? The moon gets its light from the sun. If the moon is as bright as the sun, what happened to the sun? It says the light of the sun is sevenfold. I would say the sun to the seventh power. What happened? The sun blew up. The sun blows up. Stars do that. Here's pictures of stars that blow up. Big gas ball coming off this thing, stars blow up. And if the earth is in the position where it's going to get hit by this fireball, interesting things are going to happen. Joseph Smith translation of 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 12. Looking unto and preparing for the day of the coming of the Lord, wherein the corruptible things of the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and mountains shall melt with fervent heat. When this day comes, the heat will be sufficient to melt mountains. That's going to be a cleansing. That's when you want to consider yourself a full tithe payer, because you got fire insurance come that day, and you are among the righteous that are lifted off the earth. Again, here is this beautiful ball of fire approaching the earth, and here's a picture of the earth in the wake of this fiery blast that melts mountains, and this is when Christ comes with the fire. Now the flames come from the east. Well, of course they come from the east. The earth is rotating from the east. The fire comes at about 1,000 miles an hour. The righteous are transformed. What's transformed? Well, translated, maybe. The righteous are transformed and caught up. They're off the earth when this happens. This is when the parable of the 10 virgins is fulfilled. 50%, and who are the virgins? Members of the church. 50% of the church are not going to be righteous enough to get transformed and lifted off the earth. Now we have a picture here of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego when they were ushered into the fiery furnace, and they did not get burned. The people that saw them in the furnace saw a fourth person inside the furnace. Who was that? Well, that was the Lord. How come they did not get burned up by the fire? Because they were transformed, or they were translated. Now here's an interesting one that I figured out. The guards that escorted them into the oven to throw them in were all killed with the heat. Okay? Now, in my world, that's a type and shadow of what's going to take place in the last days. The wicked guards who are escorting the church into her hour of test, they're the ones that are going to get burned up. Here's the world in a ball of fire, and here's a picture of the wicked who are bound and burned. How are they bound? Well, they're bound by gravity. They're bound to the earth by gravity, and the fire comes down and burns them up. Now, Isaiah 13 through 14. I'll shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, and it shall be as a chaste robe. The earth is removed. How can you move the earth? With an explosion like that, it's like firing a rifle, and all of that power is going to hurtle the earth through space as a chaste roe. What's a roe? A roe is a baby deer, and a baby deer runs away. Isaiah 24:20. The earth shall reel to and fro as a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. The earth is moved during the millennium to another place where it's going to spend the 1,000 years, I say 2,000 years, until the earth dies and is resurrected. Here's a picture of an exploding star and a beam of power that jets out at nearly at the speed of light. And if the earth is in that beam, it's going to get hurtled through space. Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of these days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven. There are many scriptures that refer to the sun going dark and the stars fall. Do the stars fall? The stars do not fall. The sun went dark. Why did it go dark? Because the thing just blew up. It isn't there anymore. And why do the stars fall? They don't fall. We're jetting past them on our way to our new location. We can say that the millennium only lasts 1,000 years, 2,000 years. And if we're traveling in towards the center of the galaxy is about 30,000 light years away. So traveling at the speed of light will take 30,000 years to get to the center of the galaxy. That's a long time to sit around and wait. Well, we have here a guy by the name of Albert Einstein, and he says that speed dilutes time. I love this picture. It says, "Person of the Century" from Time magazine. Is time like an iron rod? Unbendable? Well, an iron rod's bendable, but it's long and straight and solid. Or is it like a rubber band that is elastic and changes? Well, here's a book called Wrinkles in Time, written by George Smoot, and George Smoot is an LDS physicist. And Stephen Hawking says, "The scientific discovery of the century, if not all time." And this discovery is that time is not solid, it's not consistent. With speed, time changes. We have two clocks here. You put one atomic clock at the beach, and you put another atomic clock on top of a mountain. And they're dead nuts in sync. Now you bring them together a year later, and the one that's on top of the mountain is slower than the one at the beach. Why? Because as the Earth rotates on its axis, the one on the mountaintop is traveling faster than the one at the seashore. Now this added speed is sufficient to slow down that clock, so when you put them next to each other, they're not reading the same time. An office clock pacing a cosmic ray ticks but once every 3,000 years. You might be on the Earth on our way to our new location, and to an outside observer in another galaxy or another star observing the Earth make this trip through our galaxy to where it's going to spend the eternity, it may take 30,000 years traveling at the speed of light. And if we're not traveling at the speed of light, it may take 150,000 years. But if it does, it doesn't matter, because time shall be no longer, and the journey can be made that fast.